A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, Constitutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's L-E-N-A-R-D. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everybody. I have taken some notes. Hopefully, I will remember to get this all in. I'm planning for now to call this show The New Way. It's a quasi follow-up to season 2, episode 99, that was titled Neither Constitution nor New Testament, a Suicide Pact, so to speak, plus Happy Mother's Day. And indeed, Constitutionalist Politics 3 book is now out and available through Amazon. And indeed, it does, trying to quickly find the table of contents. There it is. There's the table of contents. And if you will see, if you're looking behind the scenes video on BitChute, I'm having a ghosting issue, green screen issue, trying to show the table of contents page there. But if you look close enough, you could see that's a chapter in the book. So please get a copy for your friends and family of Constitutionalist Politics 3, available at Amazon now. tinyurl.com/JLD on Amazon will get you to my author page there. tinyurl.com/JLD on Amazon. Okay, so setup. Why the New Way talk? Well, Truth Social, I think it was, ran into it again in the Christian group. Anti-Semitic. Oh, the Jews killed Jesus. I'm not really here to talk about that. And yes, in CTP 3, there is chapter 17, anti-Semitism. I go into the Jesus was born a Jew. He was raised a Jew. King of the Jews, became a rabbi to begin his ministry based on Jewish law at age 30, fulfilled the Jewish Messiah, the Christ, the King of the Jews, fulfill it. Matthew 5:17. Let it be known, but I am not here to erase or supplant or remove the prophet, or erase and supplant and eliminate the Old Testament. I am here to fulfill the prophecies of the Christ child, the Messiah, the King of the Jews. As Christians, we're not Orthodox Jew, but we are technically Messianic Jews. So this idiocy that the Jews killed Christ, they played pawns in part of God's plan. Jesus himself, Matthew 5:17, said, I am here to fulfill the prophecy, God's will. He had to die, just as Judas had to put him up. He played a part. He played a role. The Jewish leaders had most of Jesus's followers Jews. So this nonsense that the Jewish leaders of the time played a role, played a part. They were pawns in God's plan. Jesus had to die. He had to go on the cross. There could be no resurrection without it. So God, if you must, is the one to blame for Jesus's death. And thank God for it. We wouldn't have the resurrection without it. So please, let's stop all that nonsense. And I mentioned that because on Truth, anti-Semites and the whole anti-Jewishness means the Old Testament was erased. No, Jesus said the opposite and quoted in Matthew 5:17. I'm here to fulfill, not to erase and supplant. Yes, some things are now the new way. But that is why the Old Testament is still part of our Bible. Parts of it matter. Jesus, through the death and resurrection, became the final blood sacrifice. So that's why we're not Orthodox Messianic Orthodox Jews. We're Messianic Jews. We no longer sacrifice animals because Jesus was the final blood sacrifice. Now, it didn't supplant the entire Old Testament, though. Context matters. Let's talk context of turn the other cheek. Some Christians seem to insist Genesis, Leviticus, and Numbers, the death penalty is irrelevant. Eye for an eye was completely erased. It never applies anymore. That's not true. That's not the context. Jesus never said that, and you cannot point to anywhere where he did say that. And in fact, again, Matthew 5:17 saying, where we haven't put in the new way, the old way still exists. And sometimes the new way doesn't necessarily always apply. Turn the other cheek. Jesus did not say, always be a sucker. Always allow yourself to be abused. Always just forgive and forget. That's not the context of anything he ever said. Period. You're taking his words and you're distorting them out of context. Let me give, I like to joke, right? I'm too clever for metaphors. I use meta sixes. But I'm bum, right? Ha ha ha. Lame pun. But yes, an analogy. The money changers. Did Jesus go into the temple and say, you have turned my father's temple into a den of thieves, and then say, but I'm going to turn the other cheek. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to walk away. I'll be back tomorrow to complain again. No, he overturned the tables. He took an action. Sometimes, yes, a punishment or an action or turning the other cheek doesn't apply. That is an example. But yet some people don't get this. They want to be so anti-Semitic, so anti-Jew, that they insist the entire Old Testament was erased. False. Jesus didn't say that. Again, repeating for the umpteenth millionth time, Matthew 5:17.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.
Oh, I got myself all flustered here. I apologize. So, yeah, so turn the other cheek is the new way. Doesn't mean always be a sucker, always be abused, always just, right? Somebody breaks into your house. Oh, let me write that down as a note. All right. There we go. Somebody breaks into your house. Oh, turn the other cheek. I forgive you. Just come back and rob me again tomorrow. If they come back and rob you again tomorrow, no. You have two cheeks. You turned the cheek. You gave them another chance, a chance at their redemption to do better, be better. Jesus said, I forgive you. Now go forth and just continue. No, he said, let me hear your sins. Now go forth and sin no more. We are supposed to try to improve. We're supposed to try to be better for that redemption, for that forgiveness. Not, you sinned, I forgive you. Go keep doing what you're doing. You broke into my house. Come back again tomorrow, do it again. I'll forgive you. Come back every week for the next 10 years and rob me over and over and over again. I'll just continually turn the other cheek, forgive you, forget it. No. Exodus 22:2, the basis of our defense laws. Thief breaks in the night, dealt the fatal blow. You are not guilty of murder. Hence, the commandment is, thou shalt not murder innocents. Not thou shalt not kill. Exodus 22:2 alone speaks to, there has been a killing, but you are not guilty of murder by fatally dealing a blow to that person who broke into your house. If you're so anti-Semitic and insist the Old Testament doesn't apply, then you are guilty of murder. You're not. Exodus 22 was not erased. It's there for proper context. It still applies. So does when Trump calls for, as I'm recording this now, Trump has called for the death penalty of the animal who slaughtered the Ukrainian gal on the subway train. I agree wholeheartedly. Genesis, Leviticus, Numbers were not erased. The new way is to prefer to try to give someone a chance at reform and redemption, but it has been demonstrated already over and over and over. I think it's 15 arrests. Some of those violent crimes short of a murder, but this crime indeed is so heinous that indeed under Genesis, Leviticus, Numbers, those who shed man's blood by man shall have their blood shed. The death penalty does apply, especially for repeat murderers, serial murderers. And I dare say, in cases like this, where the crime is so heinous, they are a repeat offender. They are likely, if you put them away, let them out again, to do it again. The death penalty remains legitimate under the Old Testament. That was not supplanted and erased. Jesus never said, I erase all the old ways. He said, here are some new preferred ways, but contextually, they do not always apply. And sometimes the new way indeed does give way to the old way, the eye for the eye, the death penalty. I apologize again. If you haven't heard, I've left Savage Unfiltered. No more Raging Joe. I guess you get Raging Joe here now. I apologize. Constitutionalist podcast, I try to be more calm, logic, reason. Even Raging Joe was always logic and reason and principles, right? But a little more animated than I want to be here on this G-rated show. But I've left Savage Unfiltered. The reasons why isn't important. I want more time to dedicate to this show. I want more time to dedicate to doing interviews on other shows to talk about Constitutionalist Politics 3, as well as the Book of Kennedy. This is the soft copy. This is the hard copy. This is the Kindle cover for those looking on behind the thing. More time to be able to dedicate to do guest appearances on shows to talk about that and other things. So, where was I going with that? With that, Raging Joe. Yeah, apologize, but this upsets me. It does. The anti-Semitism and this ridiculous notion that the Old Testament doesn't really exist anymore. Yes, it does. That's why it's part of your Bible. It wouldn't be there otherwise. We would have just taken bits and pieces of the Old Testament and put it in with the New Testament and had just a Bible with one testament. That's not how it works. That's not how Jesus intended it. It is as Jesus intended. Matthew 5:17, I didn't come to erase the prophecies and erase the law. I have come to fulfill it. There is some new way, but the old way is still applicable when given appropriate circumstance and context. Again, the money right? Whatever. Do it again tomorrow, and do it again tomorrow, and do it again tomorrow. I'll just keep turning the other cheek. I'll just keep forgiving you. No, people. Matthew 23. Vipers, snakes, blind guides, fake Christians, as my friend Pastor Sean Todd of Wham Radio, the Intersection Show, says. People want the hippie hacky sack version of Jesus, right? I add, they want the kumbaya singing around the campfire, kumbaya, right? The tough love parts of the Bible, Old and New Testaments, Jesus' tough love teachings apply. You don't get to just pick the, peace and love, and can't we all just get along? No, humans are human and given free will by God, and some humans will choose evil, to do evil. And those who continually choose to do evil, the harsh penalties of the Bible then still apply to them, who refuse to go forth and sin no more, who refuse to take their opportunity, redemption, and be better, to be reformed, to then be part of civilized, loving, the peace and love part of our Bibles we wish we could all be living in. I hope I've covered it all. I pray that these examples, the meta sixes, the analogy, the explanation is enough to deal in that context and the idiocy of, no, it isn't just peace and love Jesus that you worship. We worship both the peace and love side and the tough love side. You don't get to just ignore all that. As Dennis Quaid said, and yes, I'm trying to grab it again, CTP3 book, right? For those behind the scene, that's the soft cover. You don't get to just pretend the tough love parts don't exist. As Dennis Quaid said, and yes, I mentioned in the book, he invented the term churchianity. I think I've said it in another show. I talk about it in the book. There may be a building with a steeple on it, but there's no Christianity inside a lot of these buildings. They have become humanist clubs, again, where, sing kumbaya, and then walk out and immediately start stabbing each other in the back. There's no real Christianity going on in there. Make sure your church is a full context, the whole Bible, the tough love Jesus parts, as well as the peace and love Jesus parts of the Bible, right? Wherever two or more are gathered, I am there. But you, as part of the two or more, have to engage your free will and let Jesus in to your heart and soul. He may be there, but you have the free will to reject him. And a lot of people are subconsciously doing that. They are gathered, but they are rejecting a majority of Jesus's message. That makes you a churchianist. The churchianity, as Dennis Quaid said, not a real and full Bible in all context Christian. All right, I've gone long now. Thank you all. Take care. I wish that I didn't have to cover this again. I thought I covered it in season 2, episode 99. I thought I covered it online, but still the anti-Semites, this anti-Jewish notion, the Old Testament was erased nonsense persists out there. Therefore, I needed to do another show on it. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.